You know that old adage, an apple a day keeps the doctor away? Well, I think maybe we should come up with a new one that talks about a garlic clove a day keeps the grim reaper away. Today we are going to be planting garlic. It is that time of year. It is mid-fall and we are going to get it in the ground for a crop for next year. So today we're not only going to talk about garlic and what to do to plant it this fall, but I'm also going to go over my seed order and my plan for the garden. So if you want to see that, come along and let's go check it out. Come on! Hello everyone, Michelle here from Gardening TLC, and we are out at the new garden area that we just created. If you missed the video on the introduction of this and why we're doing what we're doing, go check it out. It'll give you a clue as to what we're doing out here, and you can follow along from the beginning all the way through the journey that we're going to take out here. We are going to create an ecosystem out here where nature takes care of nature, and we're going to be planting a combination of vegetables, herbs, and cut flowers. And we're going to let it all intertwine together and grow something absolutely wonderful out here. All right, our first crop is going to be garlic. Garlic is grown all over the United States, and it is a fall crop that you plant because it wants to grow when it's cool out. Now, if you live really far south or really far north where the temperatures are kind of extreme, probably not doing a fall planting of garlic. But for the rest of the country, October is the time to get it in the ground. You might be a few weeks ahead of me or a few weeks behind me because you might be in a different zone. I'm in 5 and today is October 26th. I'm going to get my garlic in the ground. I want a few roots to develop and maybe a little bit to come up off the top of that, but I really just want to get it going and in the ground. Once the ground starts to freeze, which for me usually is right around the end of November, beginning of December. Sometimes it's a little later, sometimes a little bit earlier. I just have to kind of watch the temperatures. I want to cover my garlic with either a row cover or some mulch or some straw, about 3 to 4 inches. And that's going to protect it going into the rest of the winter so that next year, when it starts to warm up, I can move the straw off the plant, keep it in the rows, and then the garlic will continue to grow until I'm ready to harvest it, which is sometime in July normally. Garlic is actually a Mediterranean plant, and the Romans used to plant it not just for cooking, but they would use it for medicinal purposes as well. It is in the onion family, and it's commonly sold as a vegetable, but I think when you think about how you use garlic, it really is more of an herb. It is used medicinally, it is used in cooking, and there are so many different ways that you can use it, and it does have some serious properties in it that will help you be more healthy. There are studies out there that have shown that eating garlic daily helps reduce your cholesterol, it helps your blood pressure, and garlic produces selenium. And selenium is a mineral that actually has cancer-fighting properties. So what I said at the beginning of the video might be true. You know what? A clove of garlic a day will help keep the grim reaper away. I eat a lot of garlic, and I really like it, bad breath and all. So here's my garlic bulb, and this is a seed garlic, and you can buy these at garden centers, box stores, mail order, lots of different ways that you can get them. You're looking for a nice, firm, healthy bulb. Now, one of the things that you need to do is not take this apart until you're ready to plant it. So this bulb here is actually a perennial, but it requires division every single year to produce the bulbs of garlic that you see used all over the place. So even though it's a perennial, you got to treat it like an annual. They say that the larger the clove is, the larger the mature bulb of garlic will be. We'll find out as we plant this. I'll take note of some of the smaller cloves when I put them in the ground and note where they are and where some of the bigger ones are, and we'll see. I am going to show you my plan in a little bit of what I'm going to be planting and where it's going to go so that you can kind of see that. And then if you want to grow with me, you can plan for that. So I will be planting the garlic in this bed right up here. Now I did bring out a yardstick with me so that I could use that to give you visuals. I will be using blood meal because garlic is a heavy nitrogen feeder and I want to make sure that I give it all the nutrients that it needs to be successful. Got a kneeling pad here. I've got a watering can. And then in my little bucket here, I just have, one of the garlics that I took out of the packet, a pair of scissors to open the blood meal, and I brought a chopstick, and I'll show you why I'm going to use that in just a minute, and then some garden markers just so I can mark where the garlic is. All right, and then, my packet of garlic. I need that too. This is a 3-foot by 6-foot raised bed. It's 24 inches off the ground. And when I filled it up to about right here with logs and debris. The next third, I filled up with a blend of garden soil that I made that had compost, sand, and topsoil in it. And then the top is just compost. And I ended up using a cow manure compost, and I did that over every bed that I have. Now, these beds are going to be facing east. So they're situated so they're east and west, and that way they produce the least amount of shade. So we are going to be using this half of the bed up here to plant all of our garlic in, and we are going to get our soil ready first. Typically, you would want to go through and cultivate your soil to a depth of 8 inches, which means you're loosening all of that soil up so that you've got a good loose soil underneath for your garlic to grow. You also want to make sure that you top this with some kind of compost. Chicken compost is really good. Garlic likes that. I like the cow manure. That works pretty good too. And what you're doing is you're topping your bed with that beautiful medium so it's got something to grow in. Now, because they're high nitrogen feeders and because I want to use something that is organic and that will do well with garlic, I've had really good success with using blood meal. So I'm going to be using the Espoma organic blood meal. It's an all-natural plant food, and it's very high in nitrogen. Typically, you need to go through, if you've been gardening in your area for a while, and you need to cultivate that soil up. Mine is already done because it's brand new. But that'll be a step that I'll have to do the next time I plant garlic or whatever I put in this bed. Every time I rotate a crop out of the bed, I will be filling it up with compost. A lot of people will ask me, what kind of compost do you use? I think you find the one that you like, whether it's chicken or it's cow or it's yard waste or whatever it is that you love. I think they all work. I just think you got to make sure you're using them. Now we're going to use blood meal, which is a pretty potent nitrogen source that you can use. According to this, it's going to tell me that I need 1 pound, which is 3 cups of this product in 100 square feet. Well, this is a 3 by 6 bed. That's 18 square feet, and I'm only doing half. That's 9. So I don't need very much. So basically, I'm going to put maybe a half a cup, quarter cup, and I'm going to work it into the soil because blood meal is inert. And what that means is if you just put it on the soil, it's just going to sit there. You got to work it in. That way it'll work. Once that's done, then I'll set out where I'm going to plant my garlic. All right, there we go. That's probably more than enough. And I'm just going to work that all in. All right, smooth it back out. There are 2 different kinds of garlic. You've got soft neck and you've got hard neck. Hard neck actually have like a hard center on them, and when you harvest them, they have to be stored separately. Soft neck garlic actually has a soft stem, and you can actually braid those together and hang them up. When you see those all braided and hanging, that's what they're using. Now I grow a hard neck garlic because I think hard neck grows better in the north. Soft neck actually grows better in the south. I can grow soft neck garlic, but I have better luck with the hard neck, so that's what I choose to grow. The other thing is I do find that if I grow soft neck garlic, it does have a longer storage time, but I go through garlic pretty fast. And even if I overgrow the amount of garlic that I actually need for me and Glenn, I can give it away. I can gift it to my kids. There's lots of ways that I can use this garlic without wasting any of it. How do you know how much garlic to plant? Well, that's something only you can answer. How much do you actually eat? And are you going to do anything with it other than just eat it? Are you going to infuse any vinegars or oils? Are you going to make any medicinal things with your garlic? That in itself should tell you kind of how much you need to grow. Now, I'm growing a hardneck garlic, and the storage life on that is about 6 months if I store it properly. So I actually will be growing another crop of garlic because you can grow it and plant it later in the season to harvest going into winter. That way I have a continual supply of garlic. And when I do that, I'll take you with me when we do that. But if I have to think about how much garlic will I use in 6 months? Well, I do infuse and I do use it medicinally and I eat it. So if I were to use a bulb of garlic every single week, that would mean that 6 times 4, that's 24 bulbs of garlic right there that I need. And I haven't infused anything. So if I think about infusing and I think about medicinal, I probably use another 10 bulbs of garlic doing that. So altogether, I need about 34 bulbs of garlic for me, just for me, to get through 6 months. And that's not giving any of it away. So if you want to be able to give it away and share it, and have some to replant the next year, well, you better add a little bit more to that as well. This year I'm planting German red, which is a hardneck garlic. And so you take the bulb and you break off all the little cloves just like this. Okay, so they still have their little paper wrapper on them. And basically what I'm doing right now is I'm just breaking them off and dropping them down into the bucket. There was another reason I brought that bucket out here. So I'm gonna get all of these apart. And I have small ones, big ones, different size, and I'm going to drop them in the bucket. Now, I bought a packet like this at the store, and in this, there were 2 big bulbs. Here's my second one, and I'm going to open this one up. And then, usually you get anywhere from 7, 8, 9, 10 different cloves in one bulb. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I got 9 out of that one. Let's see what I get out of this one. On this next one, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I actually got 11 this time. And see, here's the little hard neck that's left. All right, I will be planting in a raised bed. And when you plant in a raised bed, you want your rows to be anywhere from 5 to 8 inches apart. I am planting in half this bed, which means I have 3 feet by 3 feet to grow in. I am going to space 6 inches apart. I am going to start 3 inches in on this side, and this will allow me to get 6 rows in. I do not need to mark every one of these sticks with what it is. I'm just going to mark one. So I wrote on here that it's garlic. I'm planting at 1026 and it's German red. And that's really all the information I need. I know this is going to be garlic. I also want to do a little experiment. So I will be marking the smallest clove that we put in the ground and the biggest clove that we put in the ground. We just want to see which one gets bigger, if that is true, what they say, the largest cloves produce the largest bulbs. So we'll see. Now, the other thing I have here is my little chopstick, and I've marked this at 2 inches and 4 inches. So garlic, if you're planting it in the ground, can actually be planted a little bit shallower. When you're planting it in a raised bed, the further north you go, I think you need to go a little bit deeper. You also typically need to make sure that you are covering it with straw once you get to the freezing of the ground. So when I put this in the ground, see, I can use this to create my hole and spin it around. I'm going to go somewhere between 3 and 4 inches. So kind of in between those lines is how deep I'm going to plant the garlic. But this is a quick, easy way for me to make my holes, and then I just drop the garlic in. When you plant the garlic, you do not take this paper wrapper off. You leave it on to protect the bulb. This is the pointy end, and this is the rooted end. Can you see the roots on there? So when you plant it, the pointy side goes up. I am all done planting garlic. I ended up getting 48 cloves in here, and I ended up using 4 bulbs. Now down here, I did mark where I have the largest bulb, and I'm using the chopstick to mark where the smallest one is. I just didn't have another little label, but that'll work because I'll remember that. And now this is done. The last thing I did was I watered the garlic in, and I did a really good watering so that it penetrated down to the garlic bulb. You want to make sure that you do that so that it gets the roots going, kind of gives it a good jump start. Now, I won't water this again unless I see it drying out, and I might not have to if it rains. If you feel like you're getting too much rain though, because those will rot if they're overwatered and they can't drain and they're always wet, then maybe you do want to put a row cover on it. But I'm not going to do anything right now. I'm just going to keep an eye on them. If I feel like I need to water them again because we don't get rain, I will. And then I'll cover them with a layer of mulch as the ground freezes and we go into winter. But that's it. It's that simple to plant garlic. Let's take about 10 minutes and talk about the plan that's going to go in here. I'm not going to go over specific varieties because I will do that later as we go, but I do want to give you kind of a idea of what's going where and how we're going to make this work. That way, if you decide that this is something that you want to plan out and do yourself, even if it's just parts of it, you'll at least be able to follow along and be ahead of it instead of trying to catch up with me. All right, so this is our tunnel. And as a refresher, it is 20 feet long. We made it with 5 16-foot cattle panels that were 4 feet wide. We also spaced them 8 feet apart from here to here. Now on either side of that, we did some garden beds in the ground. I laid cardboard down, topped it with compost, and we'll probably add more compost in the spring. These beds are all situated east and west. All right, so this bed is 4 feet wide and 20 feet long, and in the outside edge, we will be planting English lavender. Down the center, we'll be planting annual zinnias, and I'm going to use the Queenie Lime formula mix. On the panels themselves, we're going to be doing planting of vegetables. Now, these are going to be planted on each side of the cattle panel so that they grow up each side and meet at the top. It'll be a mix of melons, pole beans, cucumbers, pumpkins, and gourds. Now we're going to drop down in front of this. We got this little area right here. I'm actually going to plant some of that new look Dusty Miller right there. We want that as a filler for our flowers that we're going to be planting because I am doing a flower ministry with a lot of the flowers that we're going to grow. So that's kind of exciting to see that. Now, the other side of the bed over here in the ground is on the north side of the cattle panel. The other one is the south side. And you'll probably hear me call these tunnel north and tunnel south. But this is done the exact same way. It's 4 by 20. And in here on the outside edge, we will be planting calendula. Calendula is a host plant for aphids. It's also a great plant to grow if you want to harvest the flowers and dry them. They're good for beauty products, bath products, teas, a lot of different things that you can do with calendula. In the middle, we'll be planting annual zinnias, and we're going to do the Benares giant mix down here, and then along the edge will be the vegetables that are planted on the other side as well. Right now we have 9 raised beds. We have the 3 cedar ones that are up on legs. We have the 4 metal ones, and then we have the round one in the back, and then I have another round one coming that's going to go in between the 4 metal beds. I probably will get some stencils and mark all the beds so that we are always referring to the same thing in reference when I'm doing the videos. But for the sake of this video, we're going to talk about the 3 cedar beds first, the ones up on the raised legs. We're going to go left to right, and we're going to call them bed 1, bed 2, and bed 3. All right, so here we go. Bed 1. In this bed, we will be planting radishes, head lettuce, and loose lettuce. Then we are going to harvest that because they are cool season crops. We'll be planting a cover crop of buckwheat in here, and then we'll repeat the planting in the fall of radishes, head lettuce, and loose lettuce again. All right, we're going to switch over to the next bed. And these beds are 2 feet wide and they're 4 feet long, so they're not very big. And again, this one's going to have romaine lettuce, cilantro, and spinach. We will again harvest all of that, do our cover crop with the buckwheat. We'll till that in, and then we'll repeat the planting again. And then we come over to the third bed, and in here we're going to be planting lemon balm. Lemon balm is a great deterrent of bugs that you don't want. And I'm going to be planting a delicata squash in here. I'll probably put a trellis in, grow it vertical, or up an A-frame trellis and then let it trail on the ground as well. But that's what's going in this bed. You can see right here that I have a lot of space between the cedar beds and the metal beds. I'm actually going to take these cedar beds and move them back about 18 inches. That way I'll have room in front of the beds right here to put some cut flowers in. And I'm going to be using celosia. I'm going to use the plume celosia and the coxcomb. I'm also going to be planting some gomphrena. So just adjusting that a little bit will give me room in the bed to get that in and maximize my spacing. Next are the 4 raised beds, and we're going to call them 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're going to go left to right, front to back. All right, and this is why I'm going to get labels on these with numbers so that we are all referring to the same thing without me having to point, and then there's no confusion. All right, so in this bed right here, this is bed number 4. We will be planting onions. When those onions are harvested in the middle of July, we'll be planting a fall crop of broccoli. We will also plant spring cauliflower, and when the cauliflower is done, we'll roll that into carrots. And then we'll plant Swiss chard on the end because you can grow that all season long. So here we'll be doing cool season and warm season, rolling one out for the other to, again, make maximum use of the bed. All right, then we come over to bed number 5. This bed will have more permanent things in it that don't really roll out. Now on the end closest to me, I'll be planting turnips. When I harvest them, I'll plant a second succession planting of those. Yes, I like turnips, so we will plant those because I plan on only growing what I actually like to eat. Then we'll be putting in some holy basil, which is more of a medicinal basil than it is one that you eat in the kitchen. And then we're going to have giant marigolds, and we'll have our hot peppers in here. Bed number 6 will also have a succession of cool season and warm season plants going in. At the very end, we're going to go ahead and plant some baby jade cabbage. When that's done, we'll put some sweet peppers in, and then we'll have beets. I will continually plant the beets after I harvest, so that way I am always planting beets. I really like beets. We use them a lot, and I freeze a lot of them. In front of that, we're going to plant some broccoli, which we'll harvest in the spring. But in between that broccoli, we are going to be planting a companion plant of Roman chamomile. In our last bed, bed number 7, we have the garlic in. When the garlic gets harvested sometime in July, we will plant Brussels sprouts and another round of the baby jade cabbage for a fall crop. In front of that, we're going to have zucchini, and we're going to plant one zucchini plant. It produces a lot of zucchini. But what I find is I'll grow the zucchini, and then when it starts to look even a little bit wretched, I pull it out and start over again. And I'll probably do that 2 to 3 times through the season. That way, I am harvesting zucchini all the way until frost. So in between the zucchini, we will plant alyssum. It's a great companion plant for that, and that will be all 4 of these beds. Now we are going to put that round bed right here. It's a 2x2x2, and in that we're going to be planting bachelor buttons, which is a great companion plant, and sweet peas up an obelisk. And that will just add even more beauty and attract even more beneficials to the garden. We have an outside edge here that has nothing going on, but it is an area that we will be planting. And in this, we will have snapdragons, and we're going to plant the zinnias called zowie. That will be a later season crop that we'll put in because those are orange, and we want those for fall picking. And then we're also going to do some more of the giant marigolds. We're also going to be planting some millet and some valerian root. And if you've never planted valerian root, well, stay tuned. There's lots of things you can do with that. And that's all going to be planted kind of on this outside edge here. And what we'll do is we'll just get some more landscape timbers, and we'll just box it in. And then again, use the cardboard and the compost. And then we'll probably cut through the cardboard and then plant it up. One of the things I know that you're all going is, hey, I didn't hear you plant any tomatoes. Well, this first year we are going to be planting our tomatoes out here, and I'm going to do a box style in the ground with a California weave. So we'll be building that in the spring because we can't plant tomatoes here until the end of May. So we'll have plenty of time to do that. Now we do have privets growing around the outside edge here to create an enclosed area, which I'm pretty excited about that. And over here we have an area that is not even developed yet. So this area right here is where our herb garden is going to be. And that is for another day because the plan on that is pretty awesome. Come along the back side of the garden, you can see here that I do have some space right here, just like I did on the other side. I'm going to put that new look Dusty Miller in down here. But then on this end, I will be planting some cinnamon basil, some Mrs. Burns lemon basil, and some more of the celosia. Now, I haven't 100% figured out what I'm doing in my green stalk, but it will be something absolutely wonderful. Now, this year, because my privets aren't very big, my sunflower field is going to be in here as well. And the sunflowers, I plan on growing all of those like right in this area right here. Now, eventually, I'll have to move the sunflowers out to the field next to me and start going that direction. But I have plans to put fruit, asparagus, a few fruit trees out there. So that will be developed as we move along and keep gardening in this area. But oh, that's kind of the general plan right now as far as what we're going to do and what's going to go where. And if you stay tuned within the next 30 to 60 days, I'll kind of take you through the plan of what cultivars I'm going to be growing. A lot of them I'm going to be growing by seed. I'm going to grow more things from seed than I've ever grown in my whole entire life. So we'll either love it or hate it. And we'll go from there. And again, this is the plan. That doesn't mean it's going to be this for sure. It means this is my plan. And you know how the, best laid plans go. Sometimes they work and sometimes it's not that they don't work, but sometimes you got to adjust and tweak, which I am more than willing and ready to do. Because for me, my life is so unpredictable in April and May because I own a garden center and I'm busy. So we're going to hope that we can bring all of this to fruition. Some of it might happen later, and some of it I might go, you know what, that's my plan, but I can't get it done this year. But that's okay. I'll just keep developing my area into this wonderful, eco-friendly, sustainable, non-pesticide, nature taking care of nature area. How awesome is that? So many fun things left to do in the garden. Garlic is planted. Check. I'm really happy that that is done. I'm glad that I've got my plan laid out and all of my seeds ordered for this project because I've got to go this way now. I've got annuals I've got to clean up, bulbs to get in the ground. I've got another batch of plants I need to get planted. Plenty of things to do in the regular garden, and we have got to get going. I also need to get my leaf cages made. That will be here in the next couple weeks as the leaves start to come down. I need a place to put all the leaves. We're going to make leaf mold. It's super easy to do. Yeah, so that will be part of kind of what we get done as well as we progress into the rest of fall. I am running hard at the garden center, putting up the Christmas walk and all the lights. And next week we flip the whole store for Christmas. So I'm staying pretty busy. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope you're excited to come on this journey with me. And I hope that you stick around for the rest of the season. I'm Michelle. I hope you get your hands in the dirt today, and we'll catch you in the next video. Bye, everyone.